This week on Fox News, we had a representative from campusreform.org come on the show, and this individual tried to dupe liberal college students into thinking that Donald Trump's tax reform plan is actually Bernie Sanders' plan. Now, the idea here is to show you just how dumb and biased college students really are, because when you tell them about Donald Trump's tax plan, or ask them about Donald Trump's tax plan, they'll say it's bad, it's terrible. But when you give them an actual policy from Donald Trump and tell them that this is Bernie Sanders' policy in actuality, well, then all of a sudden they support it. So the goal here is to kind of dupe them into showing just how liberal college students are brainwashed by their professors and whatnot. Unfortunately for them, the segment didn't go nearly as well as they planned. It was a complete fail. So let's watch it, and then afterwards we will make fun of it.
Well, a group of George Washington University college students not so happy about President Trump's tax plan. Watch this.
What were your thoughts on Trump's tax plan when you saw it?
It's better for the upper class than anyone else.
Pretty much horrible for the middle class, especially the lower class.
I mean, not ideal.
It's probably not the most efficient nor beneficial to the general populace.
But guess what happened when students were told that that plan came from Bernie Sanders?
Bernie is planning to lower the small business tax rate to a maximum of 25%. I think that's a positive or negative?
I definitely think that's a positive. I feel very positively toward that.
My family has a small business, so I would definitely think that's a positive thing.
Taxing them less makes more sense.
Kevin Phillips is the media director at campusreform.org, and he was the one interviewing those students and joins us now with more on this, and I can't wait to hear about the insides of this.
Absolutely. We saw how quickly President Trump and all conservatives, political opponents, were to shut down this tax reform plan. They said it was evil, it was hateful. But it's funny, when they think the tax cuts are coming from a liberal candidate, they're suddenly compassionate. They're wonderful, they're beautiful, they're common sense. And once we told them that this was actually President Trump's tax plan that they seem to love so much, the responses were pretty fun. I think people enjoy them. What if I told you this actually is Donald Trump's tax plan, not Bernie's?
You got me.
It is. It's Trump's plan.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
All of these are actually Trump's ideas. This is actually Trump's plan.
Wow.
Wow, that's interesting.
Wow. I am shocked that I do agree with Trump on certain things.
Interesting.
I'm definitely happily surprised that it's sounds a lot better than I would have expected it to.
I think a lot of this says people, specifically college students, they may not be that opposed to conservative principles. They think that they have to oppose everything from the right. That's what they're taught in class. That's what they're taught by the media. But when it's just the principles themselves, just not coming from conservatives, they realize, hey, this actually makes sense. But again, they're being indoctrinated daily by the media, by what they're learning in the classroom. And they think that because they're young, they have to oppose President Trump and his agenda.
It's that, shoot the messenger, don't shoot the messenger. It's basically who it's coming from. Yep. The plan itself, or the talking points, are fine, but you're saying because of who it comes from, like, I don't know, it can't be good then.
But
exactly.
Maybe you taught them a lesson. Maybe going forward now they will think twice about these plans and whether they like them or not and who they're coming from.
Well, that's the goal, to get people and Americans as a whole to look at the issues. Don't look at who's presenting them. It doesn't have to be a tribalist mentality. Look at the issues. Decide based on what's best for our country, what's best for individual families. That's what people can decide an issue. Don't look at if there's an R or a D next to the name. Actually, many of the students came out at the end and said, look, I understand. I probably have a bias towards Trump. One student said Trump could give me ice cream, and I'd look at him and say, what's in that ice cream? Because I don't trust who it's coming from.
At least they admit it, though.
At least they admit it, though. That's a start. Admitting, denial is the first step. Admitting a problem.
Well, that's very effective to waking them up. If you love your country, I expect you to go to every college campus and do the same thing.
I'll do it gladly.
Ice cream.
We'll do a Fox and Friends segment. Perfect.
You've heard it.
Kevin, that was fabulous.
Well
nice
done,
work.
Kevin. Great job.
That was borderline cringeworthy. It was a complete and utter failure. You don't get to pretend as though you were able to successfully dupe college students into thinking that Trump's tax plan is Bernie Sanders if you don't even show us the fucking footage. We saw a couple of responses from students, but you didn't show us the whole thing. And the reason why they likely believed that Bernie Sanders wants to cut taxes on small businesses is because Bernie Sanders' policies would do a lot to help small businesses. Not only would he save them more money with his Medicare for All plan, since they would no longer have to purchase health insurance for their employees, but Bernie Sanders wants to help small business owners by making it easier for them to qualify for low-interest loans. And he actually did this by helping to pass the Small Business Jobs Act. And it doesn't just stop there, because Bernie Sanders is also trying to help small business owners on the internet by fighting to protect net neutrality. So you don't get to imply condescendingly so that these students are dumb because they believe that Bernie Sanders would take steps to help small businesses. Because Bernie Sanders would take steps to help small businesses, be it in the form of a tax cut or making it easier for them to qualify for low-interest loans. And what Bernie Sanders wants to do is actually help small businesses, emphasis on small, not multi-million-dollar companies that Donald Trump pretends are small businesses. And that's not to say that Donald Trump's tax plan is 100% terrible, because yes, doubling the standard deduction, that is something that would benefit the middle class. However, there are costs and benefits with that, because it's not just like he's going to double the standard deduction and the middle class will get that and they'll be happy, end of story. He's also cutting Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, because you can't pay for tax cuts this large without dipping into social safety nets. So even though the middle class might benefit once a year from that standard deduction, they're going to get screwed over in other ways when Social Security gets cut, when Medicare and Medicaid gets cut. So it's not all well and good, even though there are some aspects of Donald Trump's tax reform plan that are seemingly beneficial to the middle class. Well, the middle class is just going to get screwed over in an indirect way. And the problem with Donald Trump's tax plan is that it overwhelmingly benefits the wealthiest people in the country. And look, let me ask you this. If you really wanted to prove that these students are dumb and they're just biased in favor of Bernie Sanders and they don't think for themselves, then why didn't you tell them that it was Bernie Sanders' idea to repeal the estate tax? Well, it's because these college students are not dumb, and they probably would have called you on your bullshit. But if they did that, then that wouldn't help you with your narrative, because you're trying to paint this disingenuous narrative where college students are being brainwashed and indoctrinated by their liberal professors, and they can't think for themselves. But again, if you really wanted to prove that they were dumb, I can't think of a better way to do that than to get them to think that Bernie Sanders is in favor of repealing the estate tax. Now, the representative that they brought on from campusreform.org, we know that he's disingenuous because he was brazenly lying about what people said in the clip that we just watched. So he said that they described Donald Trump's tax plan as, quote, evil and hateful. But you just showed us the clip. They didn't call it evil and hateful. If that's not the case, then show us more of the clip. But I have their quotes here. This is how they describe Donald Trump's tax plan. Quote, it's better for the upper class than anyone else. That's true. It's horrible for the middle class, especially the lower class. That's true. It's not ideal. Also true. Another student said here, it's probably not the most efficient nor beneficial to the general populace. So you're trying to lie to us and tell us that the students said one thing when they really didn't say that, when we just saw the clip that you showed us. How are you going to seriously, with a straight face, tell us that they said something that they didn't when we just saw the footage? Now, if he's implying that there was additional footage that we didn't see, then you have to show us the whole clip. We got to see 2 seconds of the students talking. So really, if it is the case that they call Donald Trump's plan hateful and evil, then you have to show us that footage. You can't assert that they did that, because that makes you look like a liar. And probably my favorite part about this clip here is how the hosts were laughing at just how biased the students were. The irony was just completely lost on them, I guess. So, I mean, what a complete failure by Fox News. Just, you tried to make them look dumb, but you didn't show us footage where they actually looked dumb, and you tried to make them think that the most reasonable component of Trump's tax reform plan was Bernie Sanders, when clearly they wouldn't fall for it if you came up with something that was just a brazen giveaway to the rich from from Donald Trump. They wouldn't believe that that was Bernie Sanders. So this was just a complete failure. And I love how they tried to meme these students. I'm sorry, but after watching this clip, you are the ones that deserve to be memed, because this was a failure. You can't dupe over college students who actually are aware and paying attention to news and politics. They would have never bought that Bernie Sanders would be in favor of repealing the estate tax. they would have never bought that because they are informed. And if you think that they're dumb for believing Bernie Sanders supports small businesses, they're not, because he does support small businesses. So this whole clip was just, I don't know what the goal was here, but if that was really the footage that they got, I would have just not aired that because it was embarrassing for them. But this is Fox News, you know, they have no shame. It doesn't matter if this made them look like shit and made them look incredibly disingenuous. They don't care. They're Fox News.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.